Hello and welcome to 20 Minutes Till Dawn. This is another sort of Vampire Survivors-esque kind of game, except it takes a very active role for the player this time around. So, without further ado, this is the character selection screen. When you first begin the game, you're only going to have Shana available to begin with, and you're only going to have the revolver available at the start. So in other words, you're going to have to unlock all the rest with runes. Runes are what you get for when you play the game and determine, depending, shall we say, how well you do, you're going to get a certain amount of runes. The more runes you get, the better you've done, and so on and so forth. If you'd like to check out the game, there is a link in the description. And personally, I think this game is really fantastic. I think there are many things that are super good about it. There are some minor things that I'd like to see a little bit different, but from the perspective of someone that really loves Vampire Survivors like I do, this is really cool. And taking a more active stance on everything is a lot of fun. However, for me, I haven't actually been able to beat any of the runs so far. If you do the 20-minute mode, it is very difficult unless you choose a really good build. Anyway, I am going to be playing a spirit summoning build, and I'm going to be playing with the grenade launcher. There's a reason why I'm going to be playing with the grenade launcher, and I'm going to try and explain that as we go. So I'm going to play with Lilith. She is, in my opinion, really fun. And we're playing with the grenade launcher because summons in this game usually scale with your bullet damage. And my bullet damage, of course, is extremely high because I'm using a grenade launcher. So we are just going to do exactly that. So I'm just going to try and murder all of these that I can. Bear in mind, the grenade launcher will kill me if I use it too close to my body, so I have to be a bit careful about that. I am looking for the magic dagger. I want the magic dagger as soon as possible. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get that. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I will, so I'm going to take the Holy Shield. In my opinion, the Holy Shield is really good, but obviously there are a whole host of different builds that you can go for, and I'm just taking the Holy Shield for safety. That is pretty much the only reason why I'm going to be taking it, because it really, it's really punishing. This game is really punishing, and much more punishing than a game like Vampire Survivors is. Vampire Survivors has a lot more HP for the character. In this game, I can take 4 hits, and that's it. I'm dead at that point. 4 hits only. And so having a trait like Magic Shield or Holy Shield, whatever it's called, that is almost, I would say it's not required, because I know a bunch of people have done successful runs without any issues whatsoever, but I am obviously just, you know me, I'm not particularly good at these kinds of games. So yeah, generally I am taking things that will provide me with more survival, but I really want to get that magic dagger. I really want to get the magic dagger. It is such an amazing trait. It's just unfortunate I haven't gotten it yet. I'm not entirely sure why I haven't gotten it yet. Usually I get it in the first 2 levels or so, but yeah, unfortunately not this time. Also, by the way, if you run into these trees, they push you back and they give you a period of invulnerability. A certain amount of invulnerability for a few seconds. Well, not a few seconds, but like a second or 2. And that can get you out of bad situations. So it might be a case of, yeah, you might want to go for that. You might want to, utilize that as best you can. But that's more of an advanced strategy that I haven't really taken advantage of as yet. And you do want to be careful about knocking yourself into these trees as well, because if you do, they could knock you into something like a boss or a mini boss in some cases. So you just have to be a bit careful about that. But yeah, for me specifically, I am having a lot of fun playing this game. I'm just, as I say, I have not been able to successfully complete a run yet, which says a lot of how difficult it is, because usually I'm okay, once I've unlocked a couple of, meta progression upgrades and things like that in these kinds of games, I'm usually able to progress quite nicely. But in this case, I have been either just really unlucky with the traits that I'm getting. For example, I'm not getting the magic dagger at the moment, which is kind of harsh. The magic dagger is, in my opinion, for this kind of build, it is required. It really is very... There it is. Magic dagger, there we go. Seeks out nearby enemies, and it deals as much damage as your bullets. Yeah, it's going to deal so much damage, and it's going to be really, really necessary for me. And we're going to continue trying to get those kinds of upgrades as well. And you'll see how effective the magic dagger actually is with the combination of grenade launcher and magic dagger. And you can also see that I have another thing here that I can provide myself, which is sharpen, which gives plus 40% to my summons. So in other words, my magic dagger and my magic scythe eventually is going to be doing even more damage, 40% more damage on top of what it was already doing, which is absolutely crazy. So much damage from that. And of course, every single time I do damage and kill an enemy, because of my passive, my character's passive, it will summon a spirit that will seek out nearby enemies. As you can see, these little floating cloud things, and they will do 8 damage to nearby enemies, and that is obviously very good as well. That's a small little damage add that is definitely going to help in the long run. And otherwise, we're just going to continue trying to take these things. For example, Electro Bug and an electric kind of build, that's actually really, really good too. Or at least I found that it's actually really good. And there's a mini-boss, by the way. That big squid type thing is a mini-boss. It drops a chest, and these chests have a certain thing that is kind of determined by your character choice. So if you choose Lilith, you will probably get this one. I'm not sure if it's actually random. I think it might be specific to the character, but I thought maybe it would allow you to choose between 3 different things, or it's more of a randomized thing where you can choose from 3 rather than they give you 3 choices. The next boss does give you a choice of 3, but they do tend to give you a big disadvantage as well. But gaining 35% increased movement speed for 1 second when an enemy is killed is pretty good, actually. That is pretty helpful, so it's pretty much a constant movement speed increase because we're killing things almost all the time, so it can be very, very useful. Anyway, I'm actually going to try and get something like fire rate. Reloading rate is really good too, but I'm going to go for fire rate here. Maybe reload rate would probably be better. I'm actually not entirely sure because, I mean, fire rate is okay, but I kind of want to get the synergies. I want to get the upgrades from that because I don't know whether you've noticed, but if you take a look at these synergies right here, you can tell what kinds of traits work together with each other, and these are all going to give you certain bonuses and benefits and things like that. So if you want to check those out, then you can obviously do that through the in-game menu. Otherwise, I am just very much hoping that I will gain the next skill for my magic dagger, maybe get a little bit of extra damage for my grenade launcher as well. I'd like the bigger bullets upgrade if at all possible. That's going to give me some bullet damage, which will in turn make my magic dagger just that much more powerful. Or I'd like to get more lightning based traits, but I suppose we'll see. There we go, there's power shot. See, look at that, bullet damage plus 35%. That's really kind of insane. So I'm probably going to be taking that right now. That's going to increase our kill potential dramatically, and you can already see how much we're able to do. It's really quite amazing. When you get a good build in this game, or when you generally start to get your build up and running, it is a lot of fun. The only problem that I've seen, and obviously this game is very much still undergoing changes and things like that. Obviously, you know, yeah, they're going to be changing things, they're going to be improving various builds. Very recently they've changed the flame cannon to be a bit different. They've also changed the glare trait or skill that you can pick up, and I actually really like that they are making those changes, because glare beforehand actually did 5 damage. Glare is this thing, I wish I could actually show you it right now, but unfortunately I can't. But glare was basically an aura around yourself within your vision range, and whenever an enemy would enter that vision range, they would be damaged for 5 damage every 2 seconds. And they've now changed that to actually do 25 damage instead of 5 damage, as far as I remember. I think it might be 20 or 25, something like that. So they've really buffed glare, which I actually love a great deal, because the build diversity in the game is well, there are a lot of different builds that you can go for, but there are quite clearly ones that are very strong and others that need to be buffed. And I like the way that they're doing it. I like the way that the developers are handling that, because they're making it so that these things, and I'm talking about things like glare, they are going to get buffed, rather than things like the daggers, which I'm using right now, which are, well, quite clearly very strong. You know, they are very, very strong. I mean, you can quite clearly see that, you know. I mean, I can literally just... Oh, wow, I literally just had that bounce on me and almost kill me. Yeah, that was probably not a good idea for me to take this bouncing trait. That is bad. That is actually really, really bad. Should not have done that. Should not have done that. That was really bad of me, actually. Oh, well, never mind. I guess I can only just try. Okay, let me see. Yeah. Okay, that's dead. Thankfully, the mini-boss is now done. Bullet damage plus 50%, bullet size plus 100%. Ho! I can't believe they gave me this. Yeah, this is a bit randomized as well, but I'm going to be taking this. This is absolutely amazing. Do bear in mind, it does reduce your max HP by 1. So, yeah, but my summons are now going to be doing... Yeah, my magic dagger does 140 damage when it hits. In other words, it basically kills anything in the game in one hit. And now I have Magic Scythe, which is this thing that rotates around me and does the same damage, I believe, as my magic daggers, which are floating around me right now. Yeah, so at this point, I actually don't need to really do anything. I can literally just kind of run around and do damage with my grenade launcher, and I don't really need to worry about dying at this point. I did a run earlier, and this is one of those games where I just like to jump in every now and again and literally just try out a new build or try out something fun. And I did a run earlier where I was focusing on burn damage and incendiary damage, lightning, and so on and so forth. So just a lot of status effects. I was using the flame cannon, and I was using a character that focuses on using burns, and so on and so forth. You know, so every 3 shots I would unleash this large blast of flame that would burn everyone in its path, and it was a lot of fun. Absolutely a lot of fun. But it was not very effective at clearing out enemies. It was very, very slow at clearing out enemies, and I would get swarmed very quickly, and I would have no choice but to spec into a huge amount of movement speed, and then I would have to... Well, I would basically have to run around consistently and just not even fire. With this build that I'm using right now, it is very different. The feeling is very different, because I feel as though I can pretty much just do whatever. I can literally fire if I want to. I don't have to fire, but I can fire if I want to. And generally, it feels a lot more free, you know? I feel like I can do whatever I want to, and I don't have to if I don't want to. You know, I can just literally have fun instead of just completely needing to avoid enemies the entire time. Obviously, this is very much getting to that point now, though, where you're going to start seeing me needing to avoid enemies much more. But once I get the final skill, which I'm very much hoping I'm actually going to get soon, but once I get the final skill of the thing that I want to show you, which is kind of like a summon build, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about with that. Now, this is actually crazy. We're getting Big Shot here, which increases my bullet size by 40%, which is going to make my explosions even bigger. Look at that. That is actually amazing. Unfortunately, this makes things very deadly for me at the same time, so I do have to be a little bit careful. And yeah, then see, now this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm actually starting to get swarmed. I'm starting to get swarmed, and I'm actually going to have to play things very carefully now. So I'm going to try and get back over to the experience, because I need to level up to be able to gain that power. You know, I need the power from the skills, otherwise I am going to get overrun. Not easily, but I'm going to get overrun soon-ish. I mean, you can already see that happening a little bit here. If I don't time it properly, then I'm going to get hit. And as I said before, getting hit in this game is almost a death sentence because of how dangerous enemies are, and you have such low HP. You know, with Vampire Survivors, I can take damage almost all the time, and I can gain it back by, you know, eating some turkey or something, you know, eating some chicken or whatever. But in this, no, it's very much, oh, look at that. I completely messed myself up right there. Look at that. One mistake, and you can lose so much HP. And that's the point. It's like, you know, 25% of your HP right there, or actually more than that. Anyway, so that's the point. It's very much a case of you have to be aware 100% of the time, or you just have to have a build that is really strong. And you can avoid most of the enemies with movement speed, or you can have a build that is just so strong that you don't even need to worry about it. I'm actually wondering what I should go for. I'm going to go for a Ghost Friend. Going to go for the Ghost Friend, because that is actually going to do some pretty nice damage. I mean, it's a little bit of damage, you know. Damage here and there is always going to be pretty useful. But I'm really, yeah, see, now here's the thing. I'm really worried about stepping into my grenade launcher's explosions, because it is just so large. But on the other hand, I mean, that's the point. That's partially why I was thinking, hey, maybe I shouldn't start with the grenade launcher, but I actually wanted to show you how powerful a summon build can actually be. Because I used this once to get to very, very low. I didn't complete the run, but I got very close to it. And with the flame cannon build, actually, the one that I did earlier, I got to 5 minutes left on the timer, actually. 5 minutes left, which is not too bad, considering I wasn't really clearing out the enemy as fast as this does. I mean, you can see just how powerful this can be just by literally, I mean, look at this. I mean, I can kill things so incredibly fast. I'm actually wondering... No. Oh, that was close. Okay. Yeah, those trees have a pretty weird hitbox as well. So generally, if you pass to the top of them, if you pass through the top of them, they can still hit you, and then they kind of bounce you away, and it's a little bit... they can put you into a bad position sometimes. So you kind of want to try and avoid that, or at least I do. My Holy Shield is back, which is actually quite nice, but... yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting what I want, actually, which is really, really bad. I would like... I really want the summon. I really want because the final level of the dagger skill is to summon 2 daggers. And you can imagine how powerful that would be. Literally, having 2 daggers floating around, killing your enemies without you having to do anything is really kind of amazing, and I would love to be able to have that, but yes, unfortunately that doesn't seem to be my fate. I might be able to get it. See, now it gets very, very difficult to actually level up at this point as well, because you're running around so incredibly much that you can't really pick up the experience that easily anymore, and I am actually being slowed by something as well. Oh, I just killed myself. Did you see that? Yeah, my Holy Shield is actually gone now, so I am now much less safe than I would otherwise be. And that's the reason why I might actually recommend you don't take the grenade launcher, and instead you actually take something like the revolver. I feel like the revolver, while it might be the most simple weapon, the simplest weapon that you have access to in the game, because obviously you have it at the very start, it does have 40 base damage. 40 base damage, and if you get the magic dagger straight away, that's a 40 damage dagger that's running around and doing damage to your enemies. And wow, I think I'm dead. I think I'm pretty dead. There's not much I can do here, unfortunately. I would love to be able to do better than I did before, but this is highly unlikely. I'm not going to be able to get I'm not going to be able to do it, because the experience is not available here. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna just shut up for a second so you can hear some of the game sounds as well, because I'm not entirely sure if you can hear those right now when I'm talking, but I'm gonna shut up for a second, try to concentrate a little bit, and we'll see how I do. I am getting slowed periodically, by the way, because I'm not getting kills. Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna shut up because apparently I'm just gonna die. Yeah, now that's the thing, you see. I lost that. You know why I lost that? Because I didn't spend enough in movement speed. If I had taken more movement speed, I would have been able to survive just that much longer, and then I probably would have been able to gain that last magic dagger skill, and then I would have had much more killing potential, and I probably could have reached the final thing there. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you would like to check out 20 Minutes Till Dawn, there is a link in the description. I'd highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And if you want a more active Vampire Survivors experience with a whole bunch of build diversity and everything, then it is there waiting for you to play it. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.